Three, two, one. Welcome to Abundance, a podcast program about the abundance mindset. My name is Zhou Fang. I am your host. Together, we will explore the abundance mindset and practice together. Welcome aboard. Hello there. Welcome back to Abundance, a podcast program about the world of abundance, the abundance mindset, and the practice of it. And I am your host and teacher, Zhou Fang. And earlier we talked about dreaming, right? How can we dream without worrying about, is it realistic? Am I wasting time? We talked about how rest is not being lazy, but rather very important for our ability to receive and welcome abundance. We also talked about how time is now a commodity. And those are three of the very important principles for abundance and the abundance mindset practice. And today we're going to talk about another one, which is space. And we want to touch on how space is not limited. Space is not a luxury. Rather, space is expansive and boundless. And we're talking about both physical space and head space, or sometimes we call that our mental capacity or our emotional capacity. So we're talking about both physical and non-physical space here. And for a lot of people, right, like we live in a very crowded world. The world is compact. So for some, space is very much literally a luxury. For example, I grew up in apartments in China, and now I have more space than before, which I'm very grateful for. So for people, the physical space, sometimes we call it a room, a container, is for safety. When I'm home, I feel safe. So, or for privacy, right? For protection. And also, we need our space to grow as a person. Like, for example, as a child, I grew up in apartment. And at some point, I kind of grew out of it and I felt like I needed more space for myself. And of course, as my family in China grew, we started with like a small apartment. And then we were able to double the size. So I think space also represents growth for a lot of people. And of course, when we feel squeezed in modern life, feel that very tired, we don't have enough time or space to rest, we feel kind of confined in a space. And not just about physical space, but our head space as well. We feel our capacity shrink sometimes and feel claustrophobic even. And I think a lot of folks experience that kind of anxiety during COVID because we were inside with each other the whole time or a lot of times. So that kind of developed some kind of social anxiety for people because of the limitation of space or didn't have enough space. And for some people, that could also create a situation where you feel hypervigilant, especially for women or people from very diverse backgrounds or different cultural backgrounds. When there was no enough space, people don't feel safe enough. So that could lead to hypervigilance, and that also can result in anxiety or feel just stressed out about our circumstances. So how do we expand our space, right? Not only just physical space, but also our head space, our emotional space. I think for us to open up, to be able to expand, to reach beyond the existing space, very importantly, as we talked about before, is to not see time as a commodity, not consider ourselves doing things as always falling behind, like I'm behind our schedule, or I'm wasting time, or I need to catch up on time. Or, it's very important to be able to rest. When we feel rested and have energy, we feel more expansive expansive, to have more capacity to receive the things we need to do, or the opportunities even for us to create abundance. And of course, dreaming, right? We talked about that. When we are able to dream, we are able to kind of imagine the kind of new space we can allow ourselves in. So right now, I'm invite you all to maybe have this exercise with me. If you feel ready to take a deep breath and to feel how, as the air comes into our body, is it making ourselves a little bit bigger, right? To expand our lungs, to expand our body. Like even that little expansion is allowing us to have more space to get through the day. And that's why part of the reason, breathing is so good for us is when we take a deep breath in, it literally expands our body so that we have more capacity. We can maybe exhale with a little bit more ease. And I know a lot of folks practice, say, yoga or meditation or qigong or some other alternative healthcare that can help us ease into a more spacious state. So I think that if that's an option for you, that's also very great. And another very accessible way to expand our space is to literally look beyond the existing point. Like, for example, I'm looking at the camera right now, but behind the camera is actually a big picture of my dog and his friends playing together. So if I can just reach beyond this camera point and look ahead of me, it's more space. Because I'm looking at 3 very cute dogs playing with each other, even though it's just a picture. But that does allow me to think beyond. What could be possible beyond this point? Is there a wider space? Is there a fuller space for me to reach into? And I do also know, a lot of folks, they might say, I literally do not have the space right now. Like, how do you want me to be expansive? So for folks who are going through hardships, either financial hardship or relational hardship, or things that might be very challenging or stressful, I invite us to look around us, to really rely on our community resource. For example, when you feel, I really need some room to myself, but I cannot find it at home, can you make time, maybe just 1 hour, to go to a library, which is free for all, to find a book you like and just sit down and read for maybe just 30 minutes to see how that activity can help you open up the space, both for you physically and also mentally. And also, if you can, invite a friend or neighbor to take a walk in a community garden or like a city park. And usually those are all very accessible and free for all. And to see how that can open up your inner space and also help you appreciate nature and what's already available for us that is abundant and joyous and supportive. To see if you have a friend to call who can help you with that or do that with you. And say maybe go on a city hike that is accessible via public transportation, for example, that's also affordable. Because not everyone has a vehicle that can take you out, 2 hours outside of a city. So maybe to see if public transportation is an option for you to access to nature, say like a hike or like a park, for example. So those are hopefully accessible ways for folks to get access to space, to more public space, to more community space, and to space that's already available to us and that's not costly, or it doesn't really require a lot of time or financial resource for you to reach, and to see how you feel after that. Because community is really a space for us to support each other and to lift each other up. So I invite you to exercise that if you are able, and if you have the the desire to access to more space, both physically and your headspace. And you might just be surprised by how much more space we may have readily available for us. And if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you hit like and share with your friends and leave your comments here. I would love to hear from you. And please subscribe and please turn on the notification. And next time we're going to talk about something else that's in the world of abundance, the abundance mindset, and how do we practice it. And of course, we also need to talk about scarcity. So going forward, we're also going to discuss what's the impact of scarcity and the scarcity mindset. And I hope you come back. I hope you share the word. And I look forward to seeing you again. And until next time, take care.